Hey, what is up guys? So I am back, and today I am going to be talking about the quote-unquote Marvel formula. And why does the Marvel formula always get brought up when a DC Comics movie gets a rotten score or a bad review from a critic? And specifically, I just want to focus on this decade. So since 2010, DC Comics has released 6 comic book films. Out of those 6, only one of those has been fresh, which is Batman The Dark Knight Rises, and the other 5 all rotten. These movies of course consist of Jonah Hex, Green Lantern, Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, and the latest edition, Suicide Squad. But you're going to see this countless times. Anytime you go on to any review, if it's anything that is rotten or a bad score, depending on how the site looks at it, you are automatically going to see people going, oh, this critic just doesn't like this movie because it doesn't follow the Marvel formula. The Marvel formula isn't here, so he just doesn't understand it. Marvel has made the superhero formula a thing, and you have to follow that beat for beat. You can't make a movie that doesn't follow the Marvel formula. Meh. And I guarantee some of you in the comments are exactly like this. So if you know what the Marvel formula is, please let me know right now. And stop the video right here, because I don't want you to watch the rest of the video where I discredit this stupid Marvel formula theory that's out there. So apparently what the Marvel formula is a way to make a movie that is the same every time except you change 1 or 2 things. And these people will usually go out there and say, oh, well, you have to have humor in it. If it has a joke in it, that's the Marvel formula. And that's the surefire way to make a good movie. So if you're a DC movie, you have to copy them. Except there's a problem with your dumb logic, because Green Lantern tried that and that movie's still a piece of shit. But then next up, they're going to point to something else that's really stupid and out there. They're just going to go, well, okay. So what you need to do now is you have to have a simple plot. And for these movies, they're usually going to point at Avengers and Avengers Age of Ultron, which is meant to be the action and the set piece movies. These are meant to be the ones that deliver everything that the last couple years have been built up upon, but they'll never reference the other movies, like Ant-Man, that's a standalone movie, or Captain America, or anything like that, because those don't fall into the agenda. But next up, they're going to do the obvious, quip fest. Of course, the quip fest, you know, where someone is talking and someone's going to come in and say something really quickly, and usually there's a laugh or you can chuckle if you get the inside reference or something. Apparently, that somehow makes it a Marvel formula movie. You know, despite the fact that this is what all ensemble movies have been doing, and one of the most famous I can give you is the Ocean's 11 franchise. All those movies are literally just quip fests. But then once you back up all of this, then they're gonna do the quote-unquote, well, the movie is made for children. It has no depth, it has nothing, it doesn't make me question anything. Well, certainly it doesn't, because you can figure out what the Mandarin was actually in Iron Man 3. You can figure out that it was a homegrown terrorist, and that was the actual fear. Because we're not enemies with the Chinese anymore, we're enemies with our own country and homegrown terrorism. But you know, whatever, it doesn't matter, because the movie didn't make you think, because it's not in your face, it's not exposition, so that's alright. Do you guys see what I mean? Do you see what I mean? Anytime there's anything there, it's always Marvel's fault. It's always the Marvel formula that's brought up. It's never that the movie might be bad, or just has a bad director, or something is wrong with it. It has to be Marvel's fault if a DC movie is bad, or reviewed bad, or anything like that. It has to be the Marvel formula that's at work here. Except, let's look at what the Marvel formula actually is. Iron Man 1. Okay, this is the most basic by-the-book superhero movie Marvel has made. This was the first one, and this is about Iron Man. It's a tech film, right? It's about technology. So, I guess technology molded into the superhero mold, sure. Iron Man 2, it's a mediocre movie, I'll tell you that, but this continues on in the formula of being the most superheroic movie you could say, and that's because that's what the movie needed to be, as he was seen as the first superhero of the modern day. Iron Man 3, okay, well that's a political movie, that's a movie about homegrown terrorism, and that's also a comedy, but it's also a movie about a guy dealing with his, anxiety and depression and how he copes with that. Thor 1, it's about learning a lesson. It's about growing up and becoming a man. Something your father did not ever think you were going to do, so he kicked you out of your house. You come back and show him, hey, Dad, look what I've done. I've got a good job, I have friends now. That's what the movie is an allegory for. You go to Thor 2, my least favorite movie that they've done, but that's a movie that goes much darker, and that's the one that tries to really set up what the future of the universe is. Now, that movie was obviously about, you know, brothership and all that, and how you relate to your family. I didn't like it myself, but I could see the themes that they were going for. Okay, then we have The Incredible Hulk. We all know what the Hulk is about. It's about containing your anger the moment the rage comes out. That was a movie about hiding and being on the run and everything like that. Once again, Hulk doesn't follow any of the formulas I've just talked about. Every single one of the movies I've just talked about has a different feel and a formula to it. Captain America, you guys all know that this is my favorite franchise in all the Marvel, obviously. And let's look at it. The first movie is a period piece about World War II with crazy science everywhere and, you know, these ancient beliefs and all this, and about the first superhero and how he's scientifically created. We go on to The Winter Soldier. That's a straight up political thriller about today's world where they are literally spying on us, and Captain America saying this isn't how we do it, this isn't how the country was founded, this isn't what the country was founded at, we can't do this. And once again, like Iron Man 3, it talks about the corruption and the terrorism within our own government, people, you know, going back and changing history, not telling you what happened. And a lot of you don't know this because maybe you don't follow history. NASA was founded by Nazis. Literally, the best scientists from Germany were given freedom over here, and they were told to work on some of the most secret projects they had, which would today turn out to be the space program and some of the top secret jets you see flying and all that. So once again, reflective of the real world and its history. Captain America Civil War. Friends versus friends. The teams are finally split up. The culmination of everything that's come before. Here it is. Here's what you're looking at. How are these people that don't agree with each other's ideologies going to deal with one another now that the government is stepping down on them after the government was already proven to be corrupt? Ant-Man. Literally, the movie that is the most different out of all of these. It's a small-time movie set literally in a small town suburb for its final battle. It's literally the smallest physically too, because the guys are literally shrinking to fight each other. And it's also a movie about a heist. Avengers, the only purebred superhero movie on here. The one that is guilty of being the Marvel formula. Why? Because this is the movie that built up an entire universe around it to get to the first one, which every single studio in Hollywood now wants to copy. Fast and Furious wants to copy it. The Monsters franchise from Universal that's getting rebrought, and I know that was originally done back in the day, but Hollywood was a different landscape back then. That's trying to do it. Warner Brothers is guilty of the same thing, wanting to do the Marvel formula because the established universe was what and is what the Marvel formula is. Spider-Man tried to do this, didn't succeed. And then Age of Ultron, battling your inner demons because you didn't learn your lessons. There it is, and the creation of new life. Come on, it's right there in front of you. It's a story about fatherhood and how these new characters are going to live in this world where everything has been flipped upside down. So now looking at how I described every one of these movies and what its basic formula and theme is, how are they all the same? Tell me, how are they all the same? Because they use a few scenes of humor? Is that really all you're going to ride on and say that that's why the DC movies are getting bad reviews, because they don't have quips? Because as we've proven, they do. Green Lantern was all quips, and that was a piece of shit, right? Man of Steel had like one or two. Batman v Superman tried to do 100 of them, and they all fell flat. Why? Because the script was crap. Let's be honest. So once again, I ask you in the comments to please prove to me what the Marvel formula is. Please prove it to me. I want to know. I want to know what this Marvel formula is, because clearly I don't see it. Other than building a shared universe, which is the only formula they're guilty of everybody wanting to copy, what is the Marvel formula? Please tell me. So maybe instead of blaming Marvel for creating a Marvel formula and quote-unquote ruining superhero movies, maybe we should all hope that everybody learns a lesson from what Marvel has done. And that's make good movies that are accessible to everybody and not just 5% of the population that reads comics. I know it's insane, but it might be doable. Maybe. I mean, Marvel's done it.